Aloha, and welcome to another episode of the Crew Review Podcast.
For you.
For you.
It's for you.
Just for you.
For me.
It's for Jennifer.
I feel like we've missed an opportunity to dress in theme today.
You dressed in theme.
I did
Says
it.
the lady in the flower blouse.
I feel like we missed an opportunity. Kiddo.
Was
Sure.
that very passive-aggressively saying, I think you all missed
missed
it.
I didn't even think about the fact that I was wearing flowers.
I
was
wore
thinking
red.
about like we
It's a
should have
lie.
had lays and like some like hula skirts and I don't know.
Oh,
We
here.
could have really gotten into
Well,
theme.
I'm
I
really
wouldn't have
sorry
worn the
I
hula
left my
skirt,
hula
but I
skirt.
would have had the coconut top. Where'd she go?
Oh, here we go. This
Oh,
is it.
perfect.
Welcome to the island.
Yaman.
We have now entered
Okay,
island
We now
life.
have a
Let's get this
succulent
centered.
Thank you.
garden on the table with us,
Without-
for those of you who don't see us.
I like
How's that?
these,
Is it too far?
tropical.
Did I go too
little
far?
too far.
Little
Bring
too
it
far.
back. All
Hey,
right.
right there. That's good. That's
Okay.
good. There we go.
Our OCD can rest now.
Ooh.
Aloha.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
It's beautiful.
So,
Now we need a water feature when we find.
we should probably talk.
Oh, look, a water feature.
None of this is making sense to anybody because we
You have
haven't
no
told them
idea what we're doing.
We're reviewing this Netflix original film called Finding Ohana, and Ohana
job,
means
John.
family. And what does family mean?
And family means nobody gets left behind.
That's wrong. Family means it's like a unit
I'm
of
gonna
like
knock
people.
you out. For the other Disney fans, they know exactly who I'm quoting.
They do. Before I
Smeagol.
knew what this is about, when it said Finding Ohana, I said, this takes place in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
Because Ohana means
Stitch.
family.
Oh man.
Family.
So that none of us had heard of this movie except Beth, and she had seen a trailer of it, I guess, on Netflix, maybe.
Yes.
So she came to me and said, "Hey, let's watch this. It's basically a modern day Goonies in Hawaii."
Which is
And
Goonies
I didn't know you. That was my assumption.
and Jennifer
I said
came
I
up
had
with that on her
feel.
own. She just kind of looked at me and she's like, "This is basically a modern day Goonies." I was like, "That's what Beth said."
Felt the same way. That's so funny.
Yes.
So we all had the same vibe. So
At
if
one
you don't
point-
feel that vibe, you can't be a part of this crew.
At one point in the movie, they even said, "Hey, you guys."
Hey, you.
It was just completely out of
I
context.
think that's what
but
they were really shooting for.
They did reference a lot of pop culture in this movie.
like Jurassic Park at the ranch.
Yes.
And Lost.
Megan Trainor.
And
Lost.
Marie
Lost,
Kondo.
yeah. Mm. I will watch anything
Yeah, they did
that is
say
set
Marie
in Hawaii, and I hope to film there one day. That'd be fun.
You will.
Life goals.
just
I like
We'll
it.
film the
there.
podcast there one day.
That would be so
Review
cool.
on
where we
vacation.
should-
Corporate trip.
Do you think we get a discount?
We are now accepting sponsors.
I was about to say, fund our trip.
Yeah.
Go fund me.
So please
Send the crew to
sponsor us.
Hawaii.
We'll
Or-
talk about your product, and you will fund us to go to Hawaii.
Talk about
Food,
We're gonna be in the crew
activities,
then.
movies, really anything's up for grabs. at this point.
Your contribution will make the show
Baby
even.
things are
better.
also accepted.
This is not a registered.
Toys.
We're not
kids.
registering. We're trying to get to Hawaii. Stay focused.
Maybe Baby Gerber will sponsor
I want
us.
to be like, hey, y'all knew what I was going for. Anyways,
Maybe Spam will sponsor us to come
Spam.
but-
do
yeah.
The
a
pineapple
review
industry.
on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
What are those
man.
things that you can get at Disney World?
Dole Whip.
Yeah, Dole Whips.
Dole
yeah,
Whips.
They need to sponsor. us.
Glorious.
Mm.
That is some good stuff right there.
So Hawaii, we're feeling the mood.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Island life.
So one thing overall. Oh, well, actually, you know what? Well, we'll get into it. We'll do the
Let's do the
summary
summary
first.
first.
Which means
I'm doing things out of order.
spoilers.
Yes.
Hit it, Beth.
All right. Finding Ohana tells the story of Brooklyn-raised geocacher Peely. And she finds an old journal in her grandfather's possessions that talks about the lost treasure of monks. She and her new friend Casper decide to go after the treasure, get a little lost. And so her older brother, Iowani, and Casper's friend, Hana, go after them. So you've got two 12-year-olds and two kids who are like 17. They're all going after the treasure. They face many trials and obstacles in this cave in the heart of the mountain, but they ultimately do find the treasure. However, all this gold is in a sacred tomb and it's cursed, which means if they take it, they'll have to face the Night Walkers, which are really creepy, and we'll talk about those.
Oh, yes.
But at the end, they realize that family is more important than the treasure, and so they find Ohana, family.
Yes.
you go.
There you go.
A modern day Goonies in Hawaii.
I did think, I was watching that, I said, I didn't catch any Goonie references, but I thought they've ripped off Goonies. That's basically what they've done. This is plagiarism.
There's a lot in that movie where they, not just them, but just like even like lines. I'm like, you took that from. Well, the main thing to me was whenever they're like, the girl is telling the story of the people of
Recanting
old
what
or
happened in
whatever,
the
and they're
journal.
acting out her voice. I'm like, that's just a rip off of Ant-Man when they did that with that guy. Like,
This is like
I
her
like it.
voiceover
It's
and
funny,
their
but
mouths
it
are
wasn't
moving.
as funny because I'm like, that's been done.
That was honestly my feel for the whole movie.
The whole
thought,
movie?
This is not original.
No.
Nightwalkers felt a whole lot like I went to Game of Thrones with the White Walkers, and I went like, just even their everything they are, it just resembled it a little too much for me too.
Is that what the White Walkers are?
No.
Like, kinda, no.
They're
Just the
act-
name.
They're actually a thing in Hawaii.
Okay.
I know this because I watched another movie
See if I
called
better.
Aloha with Bradley Cooper.
Oh, and it has
Emma Stone, right? No.
Oh, I was thinking of the one that with
Jennifer
John
Garner,
Krasinski in
maybe.
it.
Name it again.
Aloha?
I have no idea who's in that.
No,
What's the Hawaiian movie with John Krasinski? Is it the same one?
it may be the same one.
We
I
gotta
could be
catch up on
wrong,
our Hawaiian
but-
movies.
Anyway, it's been a
It's
while
like
since I've seen it, but they had night walkers there too.
Bradley Cooper, Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams. I'm sorry. I totally slaughtered
Is
the
John
actress.
Krasinski in that?
Slaughtered her? You killed her?
I could not remember. I was like, it's somebody I like, but it's been so
Anyways,
long.
but
But
Yes.
a thing.
they're a thing. Yeah.
And Emma Stone.
Yeah, and Emma
Stone's in
Stone.
that.
Okay,
Yep,
so
yep.
I wasn't wrong. Emma Stone was
You're
in
right.
there.
And Bill Murray, Alec Baldwin. Big.
Yep.
We should
was
review
a
that
good
one.
movie. I like
Yeah.
that movie.
It wasn't a good movie.
Oh, you didn't like it? Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So the I think they did a good job of pulling in some Hawaiian culture.
Yes.
Yes.
That was one of the reasons I was really excited for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like John, I like anything
Yeah.
in Hawaii, and then just some of the Hawaiian culture. I personally felt like the pace was really off in this movie.
Oh my gosh.
From beginning to end, and the storyline really struggled staying in their lane. I could not. There were just so many little things happening here and there.
There were times where like the story were as it progressed and the way it did, like I just kind of took a step back and like if you leave the room and you come back, like for any movie, like if you leave for 2 or 3 minutes and you come back and you're like, oh wait, what did I miss? That's how I felt the whole movie, and I didn't leave. I
didn't
was
leave
like,
the room.
what the heck? What word? No
Yeah,
words.
yeah.
Just basically the whole movie.
Just and I think the big thing was just where was their focus? You know, the night walkers. It's a great little story point to pull in. Mentioned at the beginning, not a thing until the end.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, you've got when I think about the Goonies, you've got this overarching kind of villain. You know, the family
Yeah.
that they're kind of working with. You're kind of wondering, so what's the point of what they're doing right now? Are they trying to find the gold? Okay. And then the whole first half of the movie for an hour before, I timed it, like really about an hour, 45-ish minutes before they really start searching for the treasure. And I'm like, that whole time I'm wondering, where are we going with this? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And then you kind of have a climactic moment with the grandfather and his daughter, their mother, which is a great moment. That happens halfway through the movie. And I'm like, that needs to be towards the end.
Yeah.
That needs to line up with some climactic things happening.
yeah.
So anyway, personal
So,
preference.
something mentioned a lot in this movie is geocaching, which they never explain. If you don't know what it is, you're probably very confused if you saw this movie. But basically, if you don't know already, geocaching is like a giant treasure hunt in the entire world. There's literally geocaching all over the world, every
Yeah.
state, every country. There's an app. It's special to me and Jennifer because a lot of our first dates we did geocaching.
Aww.
I know.
Precious.
Collectively.
And it's really fun. It's really fun. Let's just
The
like
treasure hunt
sometimes
for your spouse.
I found the greatest geocache ever. That was almost as cheesy as this movie.
Oh! Almost.
There's
But
a lot of
anyway,
cheese.
There's a lot of cheese.
sometimes a geocache, it's very straightforward, and it says, hey, there's something hidden in this area, and you go to it and you find it. And a lot of times it's a little tin can or some canister of some sort, and what you do is you open it up, and there's usually a list where you can
Log.
sign your name and the date of when you found it, and you can see the last time somebody was there. And then there's also kind of like kind of like a take a
Depending
penny,
on the
leave a penny
size,
concept
yeah.
of random trinkets. So whatever's in your pocket, it's like, oh, I'm going to take this bouncy ball, but I'm going to leave this yo-yo. Why did I have a yo-yo in my pocket? So
It's not 1980 anymore.
yeah.
Come on.
Sometimes people put money in there. It's really
Hey,
random.
make some money.
So it's like, here's $1. So
There you go.
anyway, so it's like real treasure.
Yeah.
I still have a little army soldier from our second date
Yeah.
that I pulled from one of them. Yeah.
We named him Trevor because in that moment it was
Captain
right when the first Wonder Woman movie came out.
Oh,
So we named him
Captain
Captain Trevor.
That got you, didn't it?
It did.
I could tell, Beth.
I
It hit
still
Beth.
have him.
Yeah.
Oh, Captain Trevor is one of my favorites.
So anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to
It
do, especially if you're like on a hike or somewhere,
Yeah.
or if you're bored, just pull
Or
up
if you're
the app.
visiting somewhere, I think some businesses will like go to those geocaches and like leave business cards there just to kind of help spread. It's true. We
that's
saw
cool.
some.
Yeah.
It had a
So-
weird emphasis on that when all the point of it was they never did anything with it, but they talked about it a whole lot. But all we needed to know is that this girl was a good, geocacher.
And at the very beginning, she's doing some kind of geocache competition. I don't think that's a thing. If it is, it's not a true it's like, that's just a scavenger hunt.
Well, I was about to say they had that big like stage where they won. I was like, that seems weird, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I did not.
What did she win?
After I don't know,
It was a
she won that
trip
Eternal
trip
glory.
somewhere.
to Hawaii.
They made it sound they made it sound like it was this big trip or a big cache
It's a
or whatever,
Trip
and
to
like we
some
never talk
camp
about what she
somewhere.
won.
No.
And then all of a sudden, they're in Hawaii. And it says, wait, what did I miss?
But that's that was something I hated so much. I was like, she had her friend. I thought they were going to be in it together the whole time. And she's like on the stage, best summer ever. And you never see her friend again.
Yeah.
You never see her friend again. We hate you, friend.
It was just like you kind of got emotionally invested in these two girls, and then like
I was with him. I was
They're
like, go
gone.
girls, beat those older guys. You got it. Come on.
In reality, those other guys, they would have knocked them out of the way and taken over. Like
They're just
nobody's
standing there
looking.
waiting.
Yeah.
especially if money's
kind
on the
of-
line.
I'm telling you.
I feel like they were too nice.
Too nice.
It's for New York teenagers who are in a competition.
100%
That's the truth.
Brooklyn,
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say something overall in this movie that just really bothered me was how much the kids liked New York over Hawaii. I'm like, are you crazy? I mean,
People weren't built for outdoors.
I guess.
I'm not saying any of
I
us
mean,
here
New Yorkers
weren't
do
not.
believe they live in the best place in the world. I will say that. I disagree with them.
I
If
disagree.
I have the chance to live on a beach, heck yes.
I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying some people were not built for outdoors or don't like outdoors.
Them city folk.
So they like the city.
Yeah.
I prefer the city.
I mean, Beth's a city girl.
I
She'll
am.
admit it.
But I do love the beach.
But I'm gonna go to Hawaii. I'll live in a little shack off of the beach in Hawaii.
Hawaii
Yeah,
has
come
a city.
on.
They have a city.
They have groceries, so I'm not in the middle of nowhere.
They have
I'm not
Starbucks.
camping.
They have
Gosh.
it's not another country. Well, they have Starbucks in other countries.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just bothered me how like defiant they were to go to Hawaii. I'm like, that'd be a drink or true to even just see it. I would love to go.
Well, and this is the part about them moving. Like, I can see that a little more. But just visiting for the summer when your grandfather, like, come on, kid, come on, like, it's Hawaii.
to Hawaii for the summer.
It's making it like an
darn.
exotic thing for you to talk about. Like, oh, I spent my summer in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know, like that's
Maybe
the whole point.
maybe we're just old. Maybe this is what the youth are today are like. Like, I don't want to go to Hawaii. Okay, give me your ticket. You know.
I don't
Yeah.
get that impression. I think it's just good writing. I work with kids regularly, and I don't. They like the beach. All the kids I work with love
Kids
the
like
beach.
beaches.
They're like, we're going to Myrtle Beach this weekend. I'm like, okay, cool. Can I come?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I have to ask my mom.
Some of them are like, yeah, and others like, no.
Kids love the.
Yeah.
You stay here.
Okay, so one of the
Can't believe
things
it's
that
spring
I
come.
really feel like you missed its mark on, because it did have some really cool elements of Hawaiian culture. And obviously these kids are Hawaiian. They've moved to New York. They have become New Yorkers. But they come back and we really don't get them learning their culture. Like mom and grandfather reconnect in a really cool way. It seems very Hawaiian. I liked that. We have some elements, but like the kids who are the main characters really don't have any encounters with Hawaiian culture until they're being chased by night walkers.
Right.
and it's weird pieces of Hawaiian culture too. Not
Yeah.
that they have a little bit of the like, that's aloha. You're kind to everybody, but the movie's literally called Finding Ohana.
They never
And
mentioned that.
They
They didn't
barely
do the.
They didn't do the thing. They did not do the thing. I noted that.
That's
they
how
didn't
you
do
know.
the
It's a
thing.
good
like-
movie.
No, and I keep watching
But
for
this would
all
have
the
been.
things.
I do, and this would have been the perfect one for them to do
Yeah.
the thing. But the name of the movie, Finding Ohana, is finding your family. And what do? They barely spend any time together as a family at all. The brother and sister who fight, sure. And I get the reconnecting pieces, but I don't think the focal point we want here is like, in order to enjoy time with your family, you need to go on a big treasure quest and do things that are
It's the
not
only
normal.
way.
It's like the value in family is just living everyday life, connecting with them, getting to know people that are your friends, your family, and anyway,
Yeah.
whatever.
So
One of
another
those.
point that really bothered me. So early on in the film, Pete goes out with her grandfather on a boat. They go to this island. He tells her like the monks, shows her the coin that's been like carved out with the map of where the treasure should be. And he's like, the treasure's not there. And she goes to climb up on the mountain to get a different perspective to make sure that that is actually the destination of the treasure. And then her grandfather falls in, which is really sad. But we never actually finished like her climbing up the mountain. And then she goes after the treasure. And it's like, how do you know that you're going in the right direction?
There was a lot of unfinished thoughts in this.
I was
movie.
like, I would have liked for her and Casper to go back, climb up the mountain, and confirm the destination.
Because that's what
of
she
the
was
treasure.
doing. She saw where it was, but just wanted to confirm. Well, you didn't confirm it.
Yeah.
So you just went after the
feel
first
like-
guess?
Maybe 3 different people wrote 3 different storylines, and then they just meshed them together.
I did
Could
look
be.
it up, and it is one writer. And I did not see any other. There were only like 4 other movies. The screenplay.
well.
Who wrote the screenplay? Just think. So.
Gotcha.
You know, getting there.
Okay.
So, okay.
Maybe it's 3 different personalities.
They go on the treasure hunt. They go into this cave. And they face several obstacles. There's like sliding through this tunnel where they land in a bunch
Spiders,
of spiders,
lava.
climbing through like the jaws of
The
death.
ground, the floor is literally lava.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What else?
It had some good lines here and there.
Yeah, it did. It did. What one of those obstacles would have been your turn back point? Like the older brother freaked out with the spiders. So
Spider. Spider. Nope. Done. Nope. Gotta go.
For me, I think I would
Small
have.
spaces, fine. Lava's fine. Heights, me. Spiders, no.
lava is fine.
She's not a spider fan.
I'm done.
Yeah. So for me, I think I would have been fine all the way up until the Nightwalker voodoo happened, and I'm like, heck no, I'm done.
That's it.
I'm out. The torches went out. They came back blue. I'm like, nope, we are done. I'm out. That's how far I would have gotten. So
I'm the same way. Only because, if I can just be realistic, nothing they did up until that point was
it wasn't that bad.
too bad. So the lava thing, I'm like, I'm a big guy. I'm probably not going to be able to get over that bridge. They had to jump 2 feet.
Yeah.
It's a
You could
movie.
step
You
across
could've
that.
I know. You could have made it so
The
much
worst-
more dramatic.
Well, then the worst part though was like having to like shimmy across the little ledge.
The 5-foot wide ledge.
that
Yeah.
was the worst part, really.
least I
That
looked
And they made such a big deal about the 2-foot hop.
Yeah.
just jump in the slow mo. The camera shot as they all jumped over it.
Jumped. I was
funny.
like, whatever. But and then the water stuff, all the different just pieces. I think they could have.
Beefed it up.
It would have beefed it up a little bit. Would have been a little more just adventurous,
Yeah.
But it wasn't. We had that. If they had had more time in the movie for that,
Right.
But they didn't. We didn't get there until.
I think they spent
Close
a lot
halfway
of
through.
time on things that they probably could have cut out, and they would have had more
Yeah.
time. I did like that they had a variety of adventures they had to go through. So the water in the tunnel,
Yeah.
the creaky wood that's holding up all the rocks, and you have to crawl through the tight spaces, and the waterfall, and then the figuring out the pulley system. Like I did like all that. That was fun that they had that variety. of
I thought that was
things,
very
but-
unrealistic how they figured out the pulley thing.
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
the fact that they tried to incorporate all of that
Yeah,
was
it was a good try.
It was very kid friendly.
Well,
Yeah, that's the thing. This
was
is
kid
probably
friendly.
written more for
Very
kids, so they're like,
kid-friendly.
kids aren't going to look that deep.
but it had a couple of. There was some language in it,
Yeah.
Yes.
which I think.
Yeah,
So not completely
so
kid
for
friendly.
something that seems
Not
to be
completely
family
kid
friendly.
friendly.
It's like, what?
What?
The
I know,
adventure was
the
kid
first time
friendly.
they cursed, I was like, I was
When?
like, did
I
I
don't-
hear that? Say what?
I don't remember everything that they said.
There was just some
How many,
random things.
how many words were there?
It wasn't a lot.
It wasn't a
was just
lot.
like 3 or 4
Randomly
times maybe,
placed.
but
Yeah.
Not fitting well. So, going with the
If they
pulley
cut that
system
out.
and some of the other things, there was just a lot of things that they assumed about like the backstory. She was like, they must have done this and da da
Yeah.
da. I'm like, how?
Are we supposed to assume
How
that
did
she
you-
figured that out just because
how
she's a
did
good
you
geocacher?
get
And every guess that they had was how it happened.
Except right until the
At
end,
the end,
and
the very
Casper
end,
said
yeah.
something about monks turning evil,
Yeah.
and she said no, that didn't happen. But still, it was mostly. But I'm with you, John. The Nightwalkers, that was very well done.
So
I thought.
let's talk
them-
about that. That was my favorite part of the movie because, and it didn't fit in the movie. It was
No.
it was like it went from happy family friendly movie to this is a horror movie. I am
Yeah.
terrified.
He was
You're
like,
about
that
to die."
escalated very quickly. I said, yes,
It was
did.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. What point would you turn around at?
Definitely the Nightwalker.
The Nightwalkers, okay,
Yeah,
so-
I would have been fine because like up until that point, it's like okay, well we have to find a way out because the things have collapsed and we can't go the way we came.
You got to keep going.
So you have to keep going. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. But at the point where we have blue flames and we hear like the horn,
drums.
Yeah.
the horn,
The
like
horn.
The
done.
smell.
And then like when they were like in that shack and they're like, don't look up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like my heart rate was going up. I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
That is my favorite scene. I'm not gonna lie. Like
It was pretty awesome.
I agree.
course.
I'll let you finish your thought.
They all kept looking up though. I was like, stop looking.
They said, "Don't look up, don't look up." That got me, and I think they did a good job setting that stage earlier on, where her brother mentioned it. When you see the torches and all this is happening, and you're like, but then it's their dad. That I did not get.
Well, their grandfather prayed for protection. And so like he basically like summoned their dad to come and protect them from the Nightwalkers.
But he was a Nightwalker too.
yes.
So is that I don't know.
It was just so randomly placed.
Did any of y'all happen to do research on what a Nightwalker is outside of the movie? Like I didn't know if it happened to be
Just
people
the
of the
departed.
past. Like yeah.
It would make sense if
Yeah.
because they summoned the Nightwalkers because they defiled a burial ground,
Like
which I
they're
guess.
Y'all talk. I'm gonna look that up.
Look that
See
up.
if I can
They're like
figure that out.
warriors.
Yeah, it made a little more sense as we went, but I thought it was super
Can you get it?
just strange. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean I liked it, but I also am a sucker for anything that
Yeah.
involves
Was it
a
Night
soldier.
Marchers or Night Walkers?
I think they're called both, but they called them Nightwalkers.
I just
here.
typed in night and it filled out Marchers. Okay, I think this is it.
If you had typed in Hawaiian, it probably would have
Okay.
narrowed it down.
In Hawaiian legend, night marchers are the deadly ghosts of ancient Hawaiian warriors. On the nights honoring
That's
the
why.
Hawaiian gods, Kane, Ku, Lono, or on the nights of oh man, I hit read more and it lost my place.
Well, that's good to know. The
It's a
warriors.
warriors.
Yeah, they're
And her
warriors.
dad,
So
their
that-
dad died in
Because
He's
he
a
was
warrior.
in
Was
the
a-
army.
war. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And that makes sense because when they were walking back into the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
I saw a sailor. You saw a couple of other army people. They're the warriors from Hawaii. So that makes more sense. Yeah, I get it. I felt like it was just
That's
that
why
was
they
the part
call
I
it
was. It had
marchers,
drawn me in
too.
the most. Like that was my favorite part, and then it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
I really liked it. For me, it was a good moment. I may have cried a little bit, but again, anything with a soldier coming back to his family is just it gets me.
Well, I didn't do a good enough job in my. It might have been me just connecting when they were stealing the stuff, defiling the ground. I was like, not who cares? It's a burial ground, you know what I mean? But I was like, there's so much gold. Like, take the gold. I think taking gold there would have defiled it. They brought it in to begin with. That
Yeah.
defiled it. Like, take it out. But I was not thinking about those night marchers or night walkers coming because they hadn't mentioned it since the very beginning. And then
Oh,
they
I was
mentioned it. I
thinking
was
about
like,
it. I was like,
well,
they're
I was
coming
not.
back.
I said it's probably just me. But when it connected, I was like,
Because
oh,
she
this
kept
is crazy.
talking.
Because I was like, just
Hana
take it.
kept
Who's
talking
in?
about like defiling the grave and defiling the tomb, and so I knew like we were going to encounter the Nightwalkers.
Yeah.
Well, they seemed freaked out about it, and I was like, it must be something, but it just didn't connect with me. And then when it did, I was in that part.
Yeah.
That was the best part of the movie.
Here's some more facts about them. It says anyone living along their path may hear chanting sounds of blown conch shell tones and marching noise in the night. Mortals must go inside immediately. lay prone on the floor, and not look up to avoid notice from the night marchers in fear of harm or even death. Night marchers might appear during the day if coming to escort a dying relative to the spirit world.
Oh.
So it also said something about they float. They don't walk. They float. I mean, they kind of showed orbs in the movie,
Yeah.
but even in there, it said they are normal human-sized forms, and it said that they just looks like they're levitating and they just kind of float.
That's so creepy.
I know, and it says as soon as sunrise comes, they're gone.
Yeah, that should have been the main focal point.
There
of this
needs to be a
dang
whole movie on just this, if there isn't already. I need to look into that. That would be so good, like a kind of like a Quiet Place-esque kind of movie about it.
Gosh.
Oh my goodness, I'm getting chills.
They have this beautiful element that their dad is a soldier, and apparently he dies in battle. Like, we don't actually know what happened to him. We just know he died and he never returned. And so, but I feel like they could have like really tapped into their memories of him, like maybe what happened. But we just get like these tiny like fragments, and they never like really draw out that storyline, which would have been super powerful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did have like that nice moment at the end, and we have like the home video, but I think it really would have shaped like, okay, this is how they are the way they are, if we had like really delved into that storyline a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we need to wrap up. Is there any other major points we need to talk about?
I don't think so.
The flashbacks to the original story with Monks and
Oh,
Roberts
yeah.
and Brown Weber. Just having the random SNL cast in there just threw me off. Like former SNL members. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I did think it was funny that like when we're doing the flashback, instead of how most movies do it, where it's like a legend and you have like the really awesome voice that's like telling the legend, it's the kids summarizing it.
Isn't that what you're saying, Ant-Man?
Kind of like Ant-Man. I did tell Jennifer, I said, this movie would probably be a better movie the second time because you know what you need to know that the movie did not properly give you in the right time. But if you go into it and watch it again knowing what you know, it'd be a little better.
It probably definitely would. I'm just not gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
If I went for two, because there's just a lot of knowledge that they assume you have to know, and once you can place it together, so
yeah. All right, ratings. What you got, Kinley?
I give this movie a 3.5.
Okay.
For a lot of reasons that I've already shared. Ashley gave this movie a 3.
Okay.
She honestly, like 20 minutes in, was like, I want to stop this movie, and
Yeah.
we didn't. We kept going. A couple places we wanted to stop. So I'm a 3, and I'm a 3.5, and she's a 3.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
I gave it a 2.5.
That's higher than I said she would have said.
The half point was for the good scene with the dad. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
Mine was a 3. Just because it sucked.
Yeah.
Mine was also a 3.
3. How do you give this the highest one?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
It was
like,
visually appeasing.
And that's why I
gave
got
it
3
a
from me, because it's in Hawaii. I was like, wow, this is very visually awesome.
Well,
It
guess
just-
what?
Brace yourself.
A
I'm
3?
probably not going to watch this movie again.
Jennifer, this is Jennifer who said this.
Whoa.
That's a big deal.
Is it a 3?
It's a 3.
It's a 3.
Averaged out, we're at a 3.
Right on.
I feel about that.
Yeah. It had so much potential.
Would not recommend.
Would
I
not.
like the family
just didn't-
aspect coming together at the end.
The Ohana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they just didn't like
There was
that.
so
It felt
much.
very discombobulated. Like there were a lot of writers, or even though there weren't, it just felt like there were a lot of ideas. They just didn't tie together very
Acting
well.
was cheesy.
I think they had
The
too
acting
many
was cheesy.
different
They
ideas
did.
they were trying to incorporate.
Yeah.
into
It
this
felt like
movie.
a lot of
I
their
think
ideas
the concept
were
of it was a great
pulled.
idea. It just poorly executed, and they probably could do it again.
It had some potential.
They
and
also
I
needed a
liked
bigger
the-
budget.
They
so-
needed a bigger
Very
budget. I liked
cheesy
the
lines.
Hawaii aspects. I
Mhm.
mean, I appreciate the culture. I just wanted a little more.
Yeah.
So
Alrighty, well that wraps up another episode of the Career Review
for you.
for you
And me.
and Jennifer. Beth, would you like to take us out?
Until next time, we go big tonight.
And follow us on social media. I forgot.